Welcome back. Still Randy Bueller, still here with Rich Shea.
Whoa.
We just watched Kevin Cron demolish Bob Maher in the first match, but it's a best 2 out of 3 matches series between these guys. So Bob has the ability to come back. They're going to now play completely different decks. They each submitted 3 decks for this round of the playoffs. Eric Froelich is waiting in the wings. He also submitted 3 decks, so he gets next crack at Bob Maher after Kevin's done with him, I guess. See how this plays out. We will be publishing the deck list after this match. Obviously, it would be unfair for Eric to be able to watch and then for Bob to not to know what Eric's up to, so they will all get each other's deck lists after sense. Bob versus Kevin.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I'm certainly looking forward to this. So that was a great match we just saw. We saw Workshops powering through what should be a bad match.
Yeah, it's funny. I see the chat going nuts. Like, oh, Workshop, how is Workshop not restricted? Blah, blah, blah. I have to say, though, if you've actually been paying attention to the metagame on Magic Online since Eternal Weekend, like Workshops crushed Eternal Weekend, 5 of the top 8, and the finals was a mirror match between teammates even, Rich losing to Andy Marketon. But ever since, the Workshop deck has not been crushing on Magic Online. Oath has done well. Other blue decks have started main decking artifact destruction cards, and Oath it's still around, but it is by no means dominant. It's only like the second or third most popular deck if you look at 5.0 lists, and if you look at what's been doing well, especially what's been doing well in the Vintage Challenge. There were more Dredge decks in the top 8 and also in the top 16 last weekend than there were Shops decks.
I think
anyway,
that makes sense. So people have adjusted.
Yeah, but the good news is I think the metagame is capable of adjusting despite what we saw in that last match.
When I first, right after Eternal Weekend, we were talking, Randy, and I said they really need to restrict a lock piece. And you said, no, wait for the metagame to adjust. And you were right.
Yeah, it's like maybe, but let's watch and see. I mean, I think that was the first step of a possible argument, but I don't think we're there. Anyway, match 2 is ready, so let's get down to the action.
Right.
Here we go. It is Bob's turn to be on the shop side of things, and Kevin Cron's deck is called 1BR. Now, I took a glance at the list. Athena has no idea what this name means. Can you decode things, Rich Shea?
1BR, 1 black red. So he might be playing Culligan's Command?
So my first thought when I saw the deck name was Duretti, because we saw Kevin play a Duretti-based control deck previously, right? He was Grixis flavor, card advantage, Grixis good stuff deck that happened to have a Duretti in it. But then, yeah, if he's changed the name from Duretti to 1BR, you got to suspect Kolaghan's Command.
Yeah. Have you considered Blightning? It's kill Planeswalker and start 2 cards? Man, Bob would sure be unhappy about that.
I think Bob is happy. Once again, we've had the Shops player win the die roll. This time it is Workshop into Inspector and Sphere.
Oh,
dear Lord.
So this is just brutal.
Oh, now, and Kevin kept a hand with 4 mana, but it's all artifact mana. Okay, Underground Sea off the top. Game on. Game was kind of off if Kevin didn't have an actual land sitting on top of his library.
Okay, so Kevin's actually still in this game for sure.
Totally.
But remember that time that Revoker happened? It's about to happen again. This is the second time we've seen Revoker arrive, and this Revoker is going to do absolutely horrible things to Kevin's plan.
It's fair.
I keep saying I think Revoker is just... I think it's stronger than Sphere.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I play so many more... I'm so often on the combo side of the matchup. Like, as a combo player, I fear Sphere way more than I fear Revoker. I think Revoker is better versus, the blue stew decks, the Turbo Xerox decks, whatever you want to call them.
Right.
Blue decks, the sort of normal blue decks, I kind of see your point. Revoker might actually be better. But as a combo player at heart, I think Sphere is still the powerful card. Anyway, Foundry Inspect. Speaking of powerful cards,
Very unhappy.
are you sure Foundry Inspector is not the most powerful unrestricted card in this deck?
Yeah, I mean, Foundry Inspector he's like that Merfolk Banneret, but slightly better. Like
he's like Mox Artifact, Rich.
Well, he's like Artifact Medallion, right?
Yes, Mox Artifact. I stand by my claim.
The other way to think about him is that he's actually a lot like Metalworker, in that Metalworker is this 3-mana card that you put on the table, and if you untap with it, you're going to win. He is a card that does a lot of powerful things if you untap with him.
I think the problem with Metalworker is that it has summoning sickness. And that is, Foundry Inspector is better than Metalworker.
It's certainly better than Metalworker, but it has less of a high upside. It's not part of a 2-card infinite combo.
I mean, it's part of turn 3 kills.
Well, yes, it is. It is. No, I mean, remember, Metalworker was only a card that came during the Urza Saga block period, whereas this card came from the more recent period. So,
all right. Meanwhile, 2 Foundry Inspectors, a Revoker, and a Ballista are going to eat Kevin's life in about 2-ish turns, 2-ish more turns. Can Kevin get out of this?
So part of the no, this is probably really bad for Kevin.
Yeah, I don't know how he gets out of this, man. I mean, he needs to destroy the Revoker to turn on the Lotus to then be able to power out like a Tasigur or a Dig, but game 1, maybe he's got an artifact removal spell, maybe 2.
Yeah, this is certainly over.
Well, Vendilion Click can block now, except there's a Ballista to shoot it down. Yeah, I don't even see how Kevin survives a turn, even though he can cast Vendilion Click. So Bob Maher wins, but interestingly, does Bob really know what he's up against?
I don't
He's
think
seen
so.
Basic Swamp, Underground Sea, and Artifact mana.
Yeah, so I think Kevin's on Storm, right? I'm going to though he's on Storm.
It was a Basic Swamp, right?
Yeah.
So that is kind of a tell, right? It's not a basic island. It's a basic swamp.
It's a basic swamp, which I think means Storm.
Yeah, or certainly some black-based combo deck. You know, maybe Kevin picked up Steve's Ad Nauseam deck or a Doomsday deck, God help us. But yeah, Bob won that so fast that Kevin knows exactly what's up, but I don't know that Bob has a great read on what he's sideboarding against here.
Kevin
so, by the way, Kolaghan's Command, not 1 Kolaghan's Command, but 2. And what's the other 1 BR card in this list?
Is it already? Iconoclast?
Keep going. We already said those 2. There's a third.
That's awesome.
In from the sideboard, Fire Covenant, ladies and gentlemen.
Spectacular. Oh, and it already.
Yeah.
That's triplex 1 black red card. That's amazing.
The man took his deck name seriously.
Yeah, he did. So Fire Covenant is a colorless, a red, and a black instant, and you summon a dragon drawn by Dan Fraser, and you pay X life, and the dragon divides X damage among creatures however you like. It's a really cool card.
True story. It's basically in the like Toxic Deluge portion of his deck list, right?
Yeah, but it's one-sided, and it's an instant.
Good times.
Absolutely. I'm pretty excited. I really hope Kevin does something amazing with it.
Certainly better in this matchup than the Mental Missteps and Mystic Remoras that have now gone to the sideboard.
Yes, as much as I absolutely love Mystic Remora, it's one of my favorites, it certainly has to get sideboarded out. So here's an interesting one. If you're Kevin, can you keep this hand? I mean, you kind of want to get a basic island and then hope to find a red source off of your fetch.
On the play, I think you keep that.
You're in a lot of trouble if you miss, right? You only have 1 mana source, you don't have force.
It's sort of like 5 cards before the next turn, though, right?
I guess so.
You're going to look at 3 cards with Ponder. If none of them are land, you're going to reshuffle, and then you have another draw step. You get 5 looks, and basically any land makes your hand actively great. It's got a basic, and it's got the ability to cast Hercules. I mean, I certainly keep it. I think it's better than mulliganing.
Yeah.
You're right. It's flawed, but it's not that flawed.
I guess I'm on board with keeping it. I would certainly get a basic island with it.
I agree. Bob went down to 5 cards while we were looking at Kevin's hand.
Oh. All right. Well, this looks good for Kevin, and I'm going to have to root for the deck that has Fire Covenant in it.
Nice.
Let's see. All right. Yeah, I like Kevin's basic land choice. I think that's good.
Did you mean the fact that he got a basic island, or the fact that his basic island has beta art?
Both. So that art, if you look at so beta had 3 island arts. One of them is green, and one of them is that, and the other third beta island art that didn't exist in alpha is that same art, but zoomed in on, slightly color shifted.
Oh, is that what they did?
Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I knew that 2 of them looked very similar.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that was a trick.
It's the same picture. So we don't know what Kevin has in his top 3 with Ponder. Looks like he's thinking a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if he's keeping, the order matters.
Absolutely.
He doesn't know if Bob's going to have a strip mine. Bob turns out to have a turn 1 Chalice, or possibly a turn 1 Lodestone. Okay, Scalding Tarn off the top is Kevin's draw.
Big. That's big for Kevin right there.
Oh, Mox Ruby into turn 1 Lodestone Golem. Hello.
Unfortunately for Bob, Lodestone's going to get lightning bolted, but for Bob, this is still a great start, right? I mean,
if he's psychic, he leads Chalice 1.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
You have to be really psychic, though. I think Lodestone is the obvious play.
Yeah, it's very hard not to run out turn 1 Lodestone when you're the shop deck. Now, Kevin's going to have precisely the right answer to this.
Wow, Shattering Spree, too.
I like it. Now, do we know if he has a basic mountain?
I don't know. All right. He lets Bob untap. Presumably, he's not interested in taking this damage, though.
I would not deign to take 5 damage here. I think
that ponder was Scalding Tarn, Shattering Spree, and shuffle away the third one. And he does have the basic mountain. Look at that. Still no worries about Wasteland. It's a 2-mana lightning bolt because of the golem, but golem down.
So on Magic the Gathering Online, I always use the other art for mountain, and I pretend it's an Arabian mountain and not a beta one.
Sure. Fair.
So if you're Bob, what do? You can assemble a large monster. I think that DAC means that you don't just run out a hangerback walker, but a walking ballista is more realistic.
Huh. Chalice on 2?
That's a little confusing.
Wow.
Chalice at 1 stops a lot of things in Kevin's deck and nothing except Soul Ring in Bob's deck. Chalice at 2...
It stops Circle's Recall.
It does. Okay.
Stops Jace. Like, look at Kevin's hand. He's got more 2s than 1s.
I suppose he does. Even so, I think, well...
Look, I'm a little surprised, too. Maybe it's the fact that he's got Ballista and Hangerback, and they're so vulnerable to Hercules. Like, you wind up investing a lot of mana in those cards.
I guess you do.
Oh, this is funny. He cannot follow up with a 2-mana card here, much as he might want to.
Interesting that Kevin could have removed the Chalice at 2, but did not to.
Fair.
Now, if Kevin hits a land, which he does, then this
I think you sit on Shattering Spree there and hope to draw a red source until something... Now he gets to Shattering Spree and Replicate. Or...
invite Mr. Fade into the party.
Or you can invite Mr. Faden to the party.
Yeah. If you've ever wanted to have your very own Foundry Inspector, now you can. That's huge right there. And you know what that Chalice of 2 is stopping?
Phyrexian Revoker.
Yeah.
He gets the Ballista, though, and shoot Dak.
He does.
He's going to spend 4 mana on a 2/2 Ballista, so he gets to fire off a shot and still keep the Ballista around.
Mm-hmm. So, because of that, Kevin can actually go digging through time on his turn.
True.
Wow, he drew a land. I like dig through time right here.
Yeah, I think I agree. I mean, at some point he is going to need to Shattering Spree away the Chalice, but he knows Chalice 2 actually does hit a bunch of cards in Bob's deck. So
Right.
If you've got a debate, why not leave the potentially disruptive to the opponent Chalice in play?
Mm-hmm. Now, fetching there, I guess, lets him leave Lightning Bolt in the graveyard to enjoy in the future. Now it looks like he's just going to go on a Shattering Spree. So Kevin could have opted to get a third red source, and instead is opting for a basic swamp.
Yeah, good point. You got basic swamp instead of volcanic. I assume he's got a second volcanic. Possibly even a Badlands. I mean, if you're going to be a 1BR deck, you probably should have.
Why not? I think that the advantage there is that he can get rid of the Chalice and the Mox. The Mox turns off Bob's ability to get in there with Mishra's Factory or to block with it.
Well, he chose to hit the Ballista. And I think you see why he chose to play it this way. He wanted to get JVP down, which is yet another reason to get rid of the Ballista. Yeah, totally reasonable line. He's got Snapcaster standing by to flash back either the Bolt or the Shattering Spree.
True. Wow.
Can you replicate Shattering Spree when you flash it back?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I think you can.
It seems like probably, but I haven't actually seen it.
Yeah, I think you can. I think you can't use
You can't use alternate costs because the flashback cost is the mana cost.
And you can't use the one that lets you play both halves of a spell. The what is that called? When you have a split card and you play both of it, is it not?
The fuse mechanic?
Fuse. You can't use fuse. Thank you.
I bet you can replicate though.
I think you can.
And Kevin's line is kind of great. Snapcaster to blow up. Oh, I guess the sphere means he can't do it.
Yeah.
He's short.
Right.
He can cast a 3-mana Hercules.
That's not bad. Or he can just pass the turn and go digging and then go to his turn.
I mean, 3-mana Hercules turns on Jace, which flips into a Planeswalker immediately. It's not nothing. Right? Jace can flash back. I guess it's just a Ponder here.
Jace can tap at any point, right?
Not when Revoker is turning it off.
Oh, it's good. Okay, right.
Yeah, I think you can Hercules main phase to get in an attack and a Jace activation. Or he can say go and planning to dig.
I like saying go here because if he does flip Jace, that just lets Revoker name the other side of Jace.
I don't really. The graveyard is so juicy though, and you have a Snapcaster and a JVP. I don't really want to delve away all that delicious removal.
You'll have to take only 5 of the cards. We can leave Bolt and Shattering Spree.
Yeah, I guess Ponder's the only other one that has real value.
He has a Brainstorm in hand. He can just enjoy that one later. I like passing. Wow, attacking here is very aggressive.
Oh, I like attacking here. Like, what's the worst thing that happens to you is that Bob blocks. That's great. Phyrexian Revoker is pretty annoying right now, turning off your Jace. Kevin would have been delighted if Bob blocked. And Bob knows it, which is why he declined.
No. Looks like there's a bonus copy of Phyrexian Revoker.
Oof. Wow, firing up the Mishra.
Mm-hmm.
Does this make Hercules attractive? I guess not yet. He's still got a workshop and a land drop, so.
Kevin can soak the damage well enough.
Cute. He's going to Snapcaster, give something flashback, then block the Revoker so that he can activate Jace. That's the plan. He doesn't get to flash anything back, though. He's not going to be able to get the Sphere off the board for 1 mana.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I would have gone with the Delve spell, but I can certainly see why you take this line. He's going to get pushed by the card that's left in Bob's hand, of course, but...
Well, but he gets to respond by activating Jace.
Well, it's true, but Kevin will just name the other side of Jace.
Fair.
Oh, man, it's Duretti. That's really exciting.
Remind us all what Duretti does for those of us who don't play a lot of Commander.
Duretti, the plus is to make a 1/1 token that can't attack and has Defender. The minus is to destroy an artifact or an artifact or a creature if you sacrifice an artifact. And the -6 is to make 3 copies of an artifact in a graveyard.
Fun.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. Like you said, Bob names the telepath on bound side. Jeez.
That's awesome.
He's got Duretti and Fire Covenant in his hand.
This is great. Man, I don't even know. Kevin just has this amazing things that he could be doing. So if you're Kevin, I guess do you just wait for Bob to try to attack you with Factory and then just burn his entire
dragon? Yes, that's what I do.
This is going to be...
I'm planning to trade Fire Covenant for Revoker plus Mishra's Factory.
Oh, man.
And that's gonna be the first Fire Covenant cast in Vintage Super League, right?
I think so. I'm really excited by this.
That's awesome. What's the fourth 1BR card? Like, if you want to take this deck to the next level.
Oh, man, and we can't.
He's got Kolagod's Command already in Fire Covenant. That's 3 more 1BR spells than I was expecting.
What's another 1BR card? This one's tough. I don't know. Rakdos Charm with a Sphere of Resistance is kind of...
That doesn't count.
It'd be hard.
A valiant effort, but I'm not gonna.
I already need Lightning. Can you think of it?
Blightning has got to be the next one. Blightning. I'll accept your Blightning answer from before. Man, look at this. Revoker and Mishra's Factory coming over. 4 mana for a Fire Covenant. Unbelievable.
This is awesome.
Oh, that's great. This card is from Ice Age, right?
Yes, it's from Ice Age with sweet Dan Fraser art, and it's a great
reprinted since my understanding.
I don't think it's ever been reprinted.
Yeah, I don't think it has either.
It's an uncommon, and it's the kind of card that I think would be great to reprint because check out how cool it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bob Maher zooming in on it, reading it as well. I was playing back in Ice Age, though. It's just probably like, oh, that? Wow, you can play that in Vintage?
Yeah.
He's pretty good against him here, that's for sure.
It is. No, I always keep mine handy. You never know when you're going to need it. Okay.
Seriously, you just happen to have actual Fire Covenant within reach.
Yeah. What are you doing if you're not ready with your Fire Covenant, right?
I look. I have some in the basement. They're not within, like, arm's reach. I didn't know this was happening. You didn't know this was happening either. That wasn't even set up. And there's the Kolagod's Command.
Andy.
He's gonna 2-for-1 with Kolagod's Command also.
Actually, I think the next 1 black-red card is Sacratog. I think that's what I'd go with.
What on earth? Kevin is just mono 2-for-1s. Down goes the Sphere. Down goes the Revoker. He's still got Bob's Foundry Inspector.
Wow. This is fantastic.
Bob's just like, okay. Still got a game 3 here. He is up a game. He'll be on the play for game 3, but I cannot imagine him winning this game through everything that Kevin has done to him.
No, I don't think.
I mean, the dream for Bob is Hangerback gets to block this Foundry Inspector.
Yeah, but this is going to get Hercules, and then Jace will Hercules it again, or maybe just counter it on the way down.
How about we just shrink it to 1-3? I don't love that. He splits it into 3 parts. I mean, Bob's at 6. He can't really take the damage.
So I guess Kevin just Hercules Bob after the Hangerback Walker shatters into little Hangerback pieces,
or waits to see if Bob plays anything on his turn. Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, I guess I do like Kevin's line, given that he's got a Hercules. I think you leave up the Hercules here and the dig. I don't think you played already.
Oh man, it's Witchbane Orb.
You have Hexproof. Could, in theory, stop Hercules Recall, but probably not worth tapping Ancient Tomb for. Oh, it doesn't need to. It's 4?
It's 4, no. Think of the value. This isn't Eon Hub. Eon Hub would actually be the full-on 5. There's also the same... There's a card that's a combination of Witchbane Orb and Urz's Armor. Warding Orbs, I think.
Something like that.
Such a very aggressive line by Bob.
I think maybe he's hoping to get Kevin to Hercules in combat? I don't know. Witchbane. Now, do you force this or just Hercules as a response? I think you just Hercules as a response.
Right? Because then you don't even need it.
Oh, he's going to dig.
Man, I guess I can dig that.
I don't know about... I mean, I guess if he gets a blue card and something else, then he can force... I don't think you want Witchbane Orb to hit the table because he wants to be able to resolve Hercules Recall. He's not that far ahead of the life race.
Right, and if he forces, he actually just has Bob deterministically dead because he can rebuy the Lightning Bolt.
Oh, sure. Yeah, good point. He let it resolve?
No, he has Time Walk. He'll just build his own Relentless Assault with Time Walk.
But he can also Shattering Spree and then flash back to Lightning Bolt. You're right. How many deterministic lines are there?
So many deterministic lines.
I mean, there's at least 3 variants I see.
Yeah, if Steve and I ever collaborate on a podcast, that'll be the name.
So many deterministic lines. It doesn't have quite the ring at so many insane plays. Sorry.
This might be why we haven't collaborated on a podcast.
And yeah, Kevin goes for the Time Walk kill. Foundry Inspector dealt basically all the damage that Ancient Tomb didn't deal.
Oh, that was probably the coolest thing I've seen in the VSL all season. That was awesome.
Fire Covenant.
Yeah.
And Kolagon's command. Yeah. I feel like we'd be oohing and eyeing over how good the Kolagon's command was if it hadn't been completely overshadowed by Fire Covenant.
He also could have, after Time Walking, if Bob hadn't immediately conceded, also played Doretti. So he could have actually had the full triplex, 1 black, red line, right?
Could have.
Also, huge props to Kevin for using the right version of every card. That's just nice.
All right, big game 3 coming up. If Kevin Cron can win this game 3, he takes the overall match. Right?
He does.
He's already up a match. It's best 2 out of 3 matches.
I have to admit, I have to root for Kevin. Check out how awesome his deck is.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with you. Does anybody ever really root for the Ravager Shops player in any context?
Sometimes when playing against Reg.
But not when you're the one playing Ravager Shops? Not even then?
I think it depends. I think so. There are people who, when I stream Ravager Shops, are just much less excited than anything else. But I also have people that really enjoy it when I stream Ravager Shops.
I think the deck's interesting in limited doses.
I think that's fair. So Bob has one of those tempting hands that can just take him right out of the game immediately.
Wow.
I
the play, no turn 1 play at all. It's turn 1 nothing, turn 2 sphere.
Yeah, I don't think Bob can keep this.
He's a very aggressive mulliganer though, as well. So I agree with you. But it's like I could see Paul Rietzel keeping that draw. Paul does not like to mulligan very much at all.
Paul has never mulliganed in his life. He'd rather lose. So I think, but no, I don't think Bob can keep. But I think Kevin's hand is just spectacular. It's as good a hand as you can have without having an actual Fire Covenant in it. Okay, so now Bob has a much more reasonable hand. He's going to be able to lead with, I like the line of Mox, Factory, Overseer, go.
Sure.
That's going to let him curve into a turn 2 Ravager, activate Factory, pump, crash in.
And or he can Wasteland instead of any one of those things.
Yeah. These are all good options.
Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, Bob's hand is 4 mana cards and a pair of 1/1s. 2 mana 1/1s for that matter. Yeah. But I'm with you. It's actually a pretty good hand.
Well, we have 2 1/1s against a 1/2 and his friend O2 and other legendary O2.
Yeah, look, one guy's got to draw 3 cards in his hand. That's all I'm saying.
No, I think both of these guys have a very solid hand, so I'm looking forward to seeing where this game goes.
Yeah, should be a good one. I definitely think Overseer. Oh, he goes with the Wasteland. I like your play of leading with the Mishra so that it won't have summoning sickness next turn.
It means that Kevin doesn't know that he has Wasteland, and it also, if Kevin has nothing useful to waste, it lets Bob attack while still getting out the Ravager.
Wow, Emerald's pretty good addition to Kevin's hand. Now he can play the Deathrite and the Jace.
Yeah, this is great for Kevin. So he gets to just throw his hand out. Bob basically wrote him a giant neon sign saying, I have a Wasteland, play around it, which Kevin's deck is well equipped to do.
Yeah, we've seen one of each of his 3 colors basic.
So, fine draw for Kevin. He can round this out nicely into a ready.
Really, any of his 1BR cards would be good.
Yeah, good. Lightning will actually do a lot of work here.
There's no Lightning in his deck.
That's unfortunate.
It would be good next turn, though. You're right. It would be just fine.
So if we had a Sacrotog, he could actually make him pretty large. That one eats artifacts and graveyard cards. So it's a little interesting to me that Kevin, seeing the Wasteland, opted to lead with the Underground Sea.
True. He wants Bob to waste his land drop, maybe? He figures he's the one with 2 Moxes and a Deathrite. Like, there's no food for the Deathrite? I don't know.
But there would be if he used the fetch land.
That's true. Maybe he's... I mean, it's actually the fact that there's no food for the Deathrite might make Bob hesitant to even use the Wasteland. I don't know.
Bob, maybe it's just Ravager and Sphere. Wasteland, yeah, maybe if you're Bob, you don't want to feed the Deathrite Shaman, and you do want to deploy your team. Every turn the Ravager is on the table, it's another turn of being friends with Overseer and getting just a little bigger. So maybe that's correct.
Sounds reasonable.
All right. So because this is a turn 2 sphere, think about how much better that sphere would have been had Bob had it on the first turn. It would have stymied Kevin's development. He would have had land, Mox, Mox, go. It's been a very different game. That's extremely interesting. So,
yeah, how do you play this?
I think my goal here is to kill the Overseer. So I think what I'm going to do is play a land. If you pass, then Bob's going to use Overseer, and then you respond by killing the Overseer. That means that if he wants to keep it, he has to throw his entire universe onto it, which I don't see him doing.
Right. Yeah, if he leads with the bolt, though, activating the Overseer would resolve first. It would be easier for Bob to choose to keep his Overseer.
Right. He would only need to lose the Ravager to make it a 4/4. So
you'd rather have a 4/4 Overseer than a 3/3 Ravager?
Yeah, the Overseer is just, from Kevin's perspective, the Overseer is a really scary card. Now, if Kevin had a deck, it might be a different story.
Well, he goes to see what he does have. Activating Jason makes sense. Presumably pitching the backup Jace, and that's what he does.
Mm-hmm. I like getting out a fetch land here. That's going to help him get closer to paying for that cruise in his hand.
Totally agree. There's also a Death Right in play, so.
Every reason in the world.
Yep, and then I think you just ship the turn here.
I like shipping here, and then when Bob ratchets up, you respond. All right, so now I like taking out the Overseer.
Find out which creature Kevin cares more about. He's more afraid of the Ravager than the Overseer. I saw this as a judgment call. I mean, you sounded adamant, but I don't think Kevin's crazy here. Bob's only got one card left in his hand. That Ravager could get very big.
It can. I have a very deep respect for Steel Overseer. I really think that card is incredibly good. I mean, don't get me wrong. Ravager is spectacular. It's a great card, and I absolutely understand that there are draws where Ravager is going to be the card to get rid of. This isn't wrong. It's different than what I would do, but certainly if Kevin draws a deck, he'll be very pleased with this.
And Bob, the only way Bob can keep the Ravager is to eat everything. That does not sound right to me.
No.
You'd have to eat the Mox, the Sphere, and the Overseer.
Yeah,
I don't just let Ravager die, and Overseer is friends with the Mishra you're holding. He's thinking about it, though.
I wouldn't even eat the Mox because of that Sphere. I would just let the Ravager go.
Fair. That's probably the thing he's actually thinking about, is whether he's putting one counter on the Overseer or two. Yeah.
And I don't think it's worth it, especially because Bob is probably just going to use that Overseer to pump his factory and himself next turn and not even attack. So that extra bonus counter wouldn't even be used.
Yeah, I like keeping the Sapphire for activating Mishra's Factory after you Wasteland. Not being required to tap Ancient Tomb sounds good.
So I would just, let the lightning happen. Bonus Wasteland, not bad. So if Bob had led with a factory, he could have been attacking with it this turn as well as using a Wasteland. It basically would have just been 3 free damage for Bob if he had led with the factory.
Fair. Kevin gets blue mana from his underground, not the black he needs to activate Deathrite. He's just not interested in removing the lightning bolt from his yard, I guess.
No, because next turn I think he can actually get on a boat, right?
Yeah, or flip Jace. You're right. Yeah, fetch land and Jace. Yeah, okay. Deathrite is just going to watch for a while.
Yep.
Sorry, there's more important creatures than there are in Legacy, Mr. Deathrite Shaman. Sorry, we got bigger priorities.
Exactly. So Bob is activating his factory. All right. And then, yeah, sure, why not? I guess he doesn't want Kevin to sudden shock him.
Hercules is, I think, the annoying one.
Oh, okay, that too.
There's various instances that he doesn't want to let Kevin use on Kevin's own end step.
Yep, so Kevin can exactly cast Treasure Cruise by using everything.
He also gets to flip Jace first. Right? Crack the fetch, activate Jace. That's my line anyway. Crack the fetch, activate Jace, loot once, flip Jace, then see where we're at.
That's true. That's true.
Deathrite does have a wasteland from Bob's Yard that it can eat for mana. So, he can actually leave the lightning bolt in his own graveyard. Oh no, Sphere, my bad. He has to play a land if he wants to leave a card in his yard.
So do you think Kevin's thinking on his upkeep?
I mean, technically, does he want to draw a land or no? He can crack his fetch land now. He doesn't want to draw a land. So yes, I do in fact think Kevin is thinking on his upkeep. Not about much, but there is the tiny subtlety of
That's true.
thinning.
Basic Island and a Gush. Wow, that's great. So Gush, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, he won't. Actually, no, he couldn't leave Gush mana up.
I would play the land in Gush first. Think?
Well, if Kevin's psychic, he can actually cast his card with Gush open.
I mean, Gush does have a role to play in beating Wasteland. Is that what you mean by the psychic line?
Yeah.
If he thinks Bob's last card or top card is a Wasteland, then having access to Gush and a mana can potentially save your land.
Right.
That said, he kind of wants to tap a bunch of mana this turn.
Well, he can Gush while cruising.
All right, he decides to activate Jace first.
Or he can just draw a Shattering Spree. I guess that's fun too.
And Gush may be the worst of those cards. Yeah, Gush goes to the yard because he wants to make his land drop.
This is going to let Kevin take out Sphere and Overseer.
Wow. Who needs a boat full of gold when you've got Shattering Spree, huh?
Boat full of Shatter, yeah.
Wait, can't he take out all three? Play Volcanic.
Oh,
he can use the Death Right for red. He can replicate twice. Because the initial copy costs an extra mana for the Sphere. The replicate copies are just R. He's already paid the 1 tax to the Sphere of Resistance. So he goes Shattering Spree for 1 R, tap Volcanic for a 2nd R, tap Death Right for a 3rd R. He can take down Overseer, Sphere, and Mock Sapphire.
That's beautiful.
Not bad. I guess the only downside is that Jace gets attacked by Mishra's Factory, but...
Yeah, but Jace can just go up.
Yeah, he just pumped it, tick Jace up to 6.
I'm pretty excited about Kevin's deck. This is awesome.
Looks pretty good. I mean, it's particularly good, I think, against shops, right?
Yeah. And don't forget that he also has Remora, which is just such a good card against combo and against the Turbo Xerox decks.
True.
So Kevin's deck is doing a lot of really nice things.
Crazy. Replicate twice. Man, Shattering Spree is so good.
This is awesome.
It's just basically this is a pulverize without having to sacrifice any mountains. Just all of them. Just all your artifacts. Put them in your graveyard.
Yep.
Holy Kevin Cron. And you see the win by his name, right? Big picture format here. Kevin and Bob, they each brought 3 decks. We're not going to get to see their 3rd decks. It's best 2 out of 3, but Kevin sure looking like he's going to take this game 3 and thus the 2nd match, giving us Kevin Cron with the first win of this playoff set.
This is This is exciting. This is great.
Oh, he's one short of being able to cruise now. Not that he would want to exile all those cards anyway.
Could have left in the Mox, but I...
No, I like Kevin's line. I wouldn't want to cruise there. I want to keep that stuff in my graveyard. I've got a Jace.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Mishra chips away at Jace, but I mean, Bob knows the writing's on the wall. He's going through the motions. What else are you going to do?
Well, you have to go for it. Sometimes you take 2 to hit something for 3. That's slightly worse rate than Psionic Blast, but, do what you can. So Deathrite Shaman is really, really just putting in a lot of work here.
I mean, a lot of work. It's tapped for mana once.
Yeah.
It's been... Look, that red was great, but I'm going to give Shattering Spree the glory there, not Deathrite.
Well, I'm still going to give Fire Covenant the glory. I don't care if he hasn't drawn it yet. It's giving Kevin a lot of moral support in this game.
Great in game 2.
Yeah. I'm willing to believe that the tilt that it put on Bob is still this game.
I don't know. Bob's not very tilty.
No, but sometimes the dragon burns your team.
Bob's the kind of guy, like his general demeanor at the table is always that he's losing. Like he's just always, he psychs himself up mentally by convincing himself, oh my God, I'm so far behind. This is so hard. I've got to play perfect. He always manages to put himself in this mindset of, boy, I have to get everything right. I shouldn't, he just always plays as if he's behind. And I think that means, tilt doesn't enter into it because he's already behind. So he's never surprised to be behind. He expects to be, I don't know.
You're saying that Bob comes pre-tilted? It's like he's already played against a Fire Covenant? So
it's not tilt, though. It's more like that's how he focuses himself. For years he's been that way. Kevin just deciding how many of those goodies to delve away. Leaves the Shattering Spree. Comes up with Soul Ring, Black Lotus, Deathrite.
Kevin left his green open and then drew a Deathrite. That's just perfect.
True story. Jace ticks up.
So can he cruise? He can cruise next turn, can't he?
Off Jace?
Yeah.
With the Black Lotus and the Soul Ring? Sure.
So it looks like this Deathrite that he brilliantly left up a green for is going to be able to chump block.
Look, his plan was to eat Arcbound Ravager for 2 life, okay? He had a use for the green mana.
I think he's just at such a level that he was playing around the possibility that he drew a bonus copy, and he did. No, seriously, Kevin's deck is awesome.
Yeah, he's playing it really well, too.
He is. Kevin's in top form. His deck's great. This might mean that I won't get that bonus grudge match against Smenin, but
well, maybe. I mean, if we're guaranteed no tiebreakers, if you're excited about it, I don't know. Does chat want to see this? If Bob O2s, for example, then we know the match between Kevin and Eric will be definitive. We know they'll both be 1-0, and they'll be essentially playing for the spot in the finals.
That's a fair point.
So, yeah, well, I don't know if Steve's watching. I haven't seen him in chat.
Whoa, here comes the Revoker. So, I was just saying how good Revoker is.
Yep.
Revoker here is so much better than its competitor Sphere of Resistance.
Fair. It's a good point. Turning off Telepath Unbound is pretty saucy. Man, it's actually like Kevin was down to just the Telepath Unbound. He drew, I mean, he's still got a Deathrite, but Bob's at 11.
Yeah.
There's not much food.
Bob
that Telepath turning off is a big game.
That was. So that was pretty big.
Somehow we're in top deck mode, right?
We are.
Kevin is up like 5 cards, but they're all mana cards.
Which is normally fine against shops, but, Oh, wow. This one can hit Deathrite Shaman. That actually turns off Kevin's clock.
True. Yeah, I think you attack first. See if Deathright's going to block. Like, I would attack with Revoker Factory, let the Deathright trade for the Revoker. Kevin thinks he's going to free Jace, and Bob's going to follow up with the Revoker renaming Telepath Unbound. I like this a lot.
Yeah.
Why turn off the Deathright when you can just kill it? Man, is Bob going to come back and give us a match 3? I was into the whole wrap-up spiel.
Yeah, no, this is incredibly exciting.
This is absolutely game on. Bob has he's got a 3/3 factory. He's going to have a Revoker. He's going to have a 5-power clock, and Kevin is basically on lands.
Wow. Yeah, this is great.
I mean, Kevin does have a bunch of life, and there's a limit to how many times Bob can tap his Ancient Tombs.
Mm-hmm. This is true.
I mean, I see this as pretty close to top deck mode.
It is. I mean, I think that this is going to go to Bob if Kevin doesn't top deck anything, but Kevin.
Right. Bob is ahead. Bob is ahead, but Kevin has a lot of turns. So, like, Bob's ahead on board. Do you think he's a favorite in the game?
I think this still favors Kevin.
I think Kevin is still a slight favorite in the game because Bob's going to be on 7 with 2 Ancient Tombs and a Mishra's Factory.
Yeah.
Kevin just has so many top decks. Interesting. Kevin was debating how he wanted to activate Deathrite. He decides he wants the black activation. So he's going to knock Bob to 7 here.
Yep. That'll limit the number of times that Bob can use his mana.
Yep. And then whatever. You're still clearly going to 5 to Revoker naming Telepath Unbound.
Absolutely. All right, so Kevin just needs to draw any of his 1 black red cards, any of his namesakes, and he's fine.
True story. Top of the deck says...
Oh! Wow.
Really?
Man.
It's not even Steel Sabotage.
No, Steel Sabotage would be great.
Yeah. Steel Sabotage could bounce. Annul has the ability to counter an enchantment, which is relevant to other matchups.
Wow. Right.
Interesting. What do you do with this Metamorph?
It costs 4 life to cast it. Man.
Yes.
I don't know if Bob can afford to cast this Metamorph.
I don't know if he can either. Like, he can Metamorph. Wow, I don't even know.
He would be probably his Revoke.
He can activate. No, what about Metamorph Mishra? Tap Ancient Tomb for mana, activate Mishra, then cast Metamorph for 3 mana and a Phyrexian mana. Copy Mishra?
He can't do that because he'd need to activate the Mishra, right?
But you can off the Ancient Tomb. He can spend 3 on the Metamorph.
No, because he would have to pay 2 life to the Metamorph.
Well, then he pays 6. You're right. He pays 6 that way. That doesn't work.
He could Metamorph his Revoker and rename Jace just in case, but I don't know if that's worth it. I mean, Bob has to be on the plan of, I hope you don't draw anything ever, but this copying this gets around. Copy the Soul Ring.
Soul Ring so that you can activate Mishra reliably for the rest of the game and cast whatever you draw.
So that's essentially a 3 mana threat.
I mean, the idea is you're done with Ancient Tombs, but you have a Soul Ring.
Right.
I don't know. It may be better. And then if he doesn't cast it, does he activate Mishra?
If he doesn't, no, he certainly doesn't activate Mishra because he's seen that Kevin has Lightning Bolt in his deck.
Bob's playing to win. Like, not losing is not a thing Bob wants to do.
So
tap Ancient Tomb, activate Mishra's Factory, crunch, take 5. Let's go. You got like 2 or 3 more turns, Kevin Cron.
No, he's crashing into Kevin. Wow. Yeah. So he's giving up his ability to use Ancient Tomb. Okay. Snap.
Whoa!
Okay. So.
Wait, it doesn't even. Kevin's eaten the good stuff. He left the cruise. Can he snap cruise? How much mana does he have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh, I think he can. I think he has exactly enough mana to snap a cruise.
Oh, but he said go. Not interested.
Well, I think he wants to kill the Revoker. He's just gonna ambush Viper it.
Actually, if Kevin attacks again, he can just ambush Viper. He can just ambush Viper Bob himself.
Fair. It depends if Bob's gonna tap Ancient Tomb here. If Bob taps Ancient Tomb, wow.
Turn, yeah. Greatness at any cost.
Wow. What a game. This whole match has been amazing. Bob taps Ancient Tomb. He's threatening to put Kevin to 6. Kevin could ambush Viper to trade Snapcaster for Revoker, but Bob went down to 1 life. This is going to be end step Snapcaster, no flashback, but I'm going to attack you for 2.
What a match this has been.
Yeah, Kevin takes the 5 on the chin. Bob's end step.
Boom.
Snapcaster Mage flashing back nothing.
Wow.
Attacking for the win.
Bob,
Kevin Cron, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, Kevin just played an amazing deck. Kevin played that spectacularly well. And, Bob loses to a different invitational card.
Sure.
And, all I can think of is he's tapping his Ancient Tomb. Take 2 to attack for 3 is greatness at any cost.
Yeah, absolutely.
That
was fun. So, Kevin Cron hangs a W on the board. Our schedule now says it's Bob Maher against Eric Froelich. Bob can still make the finals against Reed Duke. If we get everybody tied at 1-1, which is a very plausible result, they play more Magic to figure out who's going to go to the finals. So Bob must win this match against Eric if he wants to stay alive. Eric obviously would like to just send it all to his match against Kevin, which will be next week. So stay tuned, guys. When we come back, it's going to be Bob Maher playing his match against Eric Froelich. We'll get Kevin in the booth and talk with him for the length of that match. Thanks for hanging out with us, Rich.
Hey, thanks, Randy. This has been a lot of fun. That was a really awesome match.
All right. And if we sounds like we'll see about maybe getting a show match queued up for next week if we're not worried about tiebreakers.
Let me know.
All right. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back.
Need the latest Magic the Gathering singles for Constructed?